I feel like it's been so long since I've gone through an endowment session that it's hard for me to be like, okay, here's step by step, like, because it's been so long and my brain has really forgotten a lot of that stuff. But when you remember it, it's like, oh no, like that's not good, it's unhealthy.
Yeah. Well, like when I was coming out of anesthesia, and I'll let you talk about that, Nan.
No, you see it. You brought it.
Well, okay, so before you go through your endowment session, there's the washing and anointing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being completely overwhelmed. So, my girlfriend in high school got pregnant. Obviously, I didn't go on a mission after that. They don't like young fathers to be missionaries. But we did end up getting married, and a year after we got married, we're going to go through the temple. All right, here we go. And nobody prepared me for this washing and anointing thing, which essentially I had an old man reach underneath my robe and he touched my shaft. And it was very uncomfortable. And I'm sorry, too much information maybe, but it's what happened.
No, it's never enough. I feel like it's not enough information. We need more,
Right? So I woke up. It's something I hadn't thought about for years and years and years. And I had an umbilical hernia surgery, and I woke up out of anesthesia. And for whatever reason, boom, that trauma was right there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like he started talking all about it, and he wasn't even coherent yet.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, is that a trauma or what? Like,
that hits so deep. That hits so deep that, your brain just unsubconsciously, I guess, was like, here's a memory for you. Relive it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
It was 100% just one of those things that, to protect myself, I guess, it just went away. And then when I was ready to heal it came out. And it's probably because Nan did a balance on me before I went in. And so my body was like, all right, let's fix this. Because Nan does some voodoo shit. And
I love it. Good. We need it.
Yeah. So I'll let you tell about your voodoo shit. But yeah, that was a trauma that came out. That the stuff they do in there, they just don't prepare people for it when you go in.
No, yeah.
And so when you talk about, I don't remember a lot of this stuff, I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's traumatizing. It's too much to even absorb. Like, you walk out of there just stunned, like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Well, but
sure.
It's the worst.
You can leave at any time. I saw a post the other day on someone's, I don't even remember whose Instagram it was. I think it was, might have been Lucifer's Lantern.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, someone was like talking, an apologist got on there and said, well, you can leave the temple at any time. If you're not comfortable, you can get up and leave. And I'm like, no, you can, but are you serious? Can you imagine doing that?
I mean, I wouldn't have gotten up if I was having those feelings. There's no way. There's too many people around, right? You don't want to be that person, right? You don't want to be that person.
Exactly. Well, and especially if it's like your first time and you've got your family there and they're like, all right, this is normal. It's so beautiful. And you're like, yeah, it's beautiful. This is so weird.
I feel like I was overly prepared. Like, I think that I was waiting for some weird shit, and I feel like nothing really happened. And I remember being like, is that all? Like, when we got in the celestial room, I looked at my mom like, is that it? And she's like, yep, that's all. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I just spent 2 hours watching a movie. This is it? Like, I don't feel any different. I didn't feel any different or more special, But I feel like they kind of my mom maybe, overdid it with explaining like, oh, how wonderful and beautiful. Because when I went in, I really did think it was I thought I was part of a really special group of people. I was that brainwashed. But it's
that's
wild.
The key, right? Is going, hey, this is a special group. It's very separate from everyone else. We're special. We've got the truth, and now you're special too.
Right. Yeah.
It's cult 101.
Exactly. Yes.
It's a cult.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So crazy. My daughter, I have 4 boys and 1 girl. She's the the smallest, and she's my only girl. When we went through the temple with her when she got married, she was next to me. You know how you have to change the robes from one shoulder to the next and all the things. She looks at me, she goes, "This is stupid." And I will never forget that, because in my mind I thought she literally just spoke the truth, and I wish I could have said that when I went through at 19, um, with 2 kids, right? That this was stupid. But that was her first, experience. She's like, "This is just stupid." I'm like, "It's true." And then, when she got sealed to her husband, Brad and I were sitting on the bride's side, and, people were on my son-in-law's side. And my husband, who was killed, his dad was the officiator. And because he's a temple worker, and he was doing the whole thing. Now, this is somebody that was the human resources director for the church for like 30 years, and like super uber ultra Mormon. Okay. Kylie, my daughter, she says to me, she's like, "Mom, do you think Dad's here?" And I said, "Oh, honey, do you think your daddy would ever miss this? Like, you're his only baby girl. Do you think he would ever miss it?" And you could literally feel him in the room. I'm not even kidding. You could feel him. And she kind of welled up, and Brad welled up, and I welled up, and my father-in-law was like, "Are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Can't you feel Corey here?" And he goes, "Well, we could hope he's here," just like that. And I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like, you could feel it. And then you could almost see like this wave of emotion that covered the whole room on both sides, of people just starting to feel him, and they would well up, and they're like, "No, he's here. You can feel him." And he's this big energy that always makes people cry. So it was crazy, because my father-in-law, here, this temple worker, this person that has the priesthood and all the things, didn't feel it. And I'm like, there's something missing here. You could see it. My daughter could see it. I think all of us could see it. And I think that was the last time we ever went to this.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Like, yeah, you would think that they could feel those things and
And they
understand
don't.
that being so spiritual, right? And especially in the temple, like that's I would expect you to be able to communicate with anyone on the other side in any kind of temple or setting like that, right?
Right? Right. You're
And
doing the work for the dead. Why
you're doing the
not?
work for the
Right?
dead, yeah.
Well, and that's essentially what they tell you. Oh, this is the place where it's quiet and you can disconnect from the world, and you can feel, your loved ones and whatnot. But they fail to tell you that you can do that same thing anywhere.
Yeah.
It,
In
it, it
in the
doesn't have to be in this opulent building.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, in the Oakland temple, that's where I got my endowments taken out. It's a really huge temple, and it's
Mhm.
beautiful inside. And I remember when I was doing baptisms for the dead when I was a teenager, they have chairs set off to the side, and the temple workers would tell us that those are chairs for past people to sit in to watch you be baptized for them. And I really
Yes.
believed, I was like, this is where they sit. Like, and so I looked at the temple experience with, like, oh, like such spiritual, like there's connection here. Like there are people walking the halls and, enjoying this. And then I grew up and I was like, oh wait, there's just no way. Like it can't be like that for the Mormon church. They're just not that
Yeah.
connected.
Well, and it's interesting because you believe it because you go, well, why would they lie?
Hmm.
Right? It, it's just
Hmm.
true. There's no reason for them to tell a story about it. And it's sad because I think a lot of people get out of the church and they take everything and just throw it away, right? And go, there's nothing here. And I'm not a fan of religion. I don't tie in with organized religion at all, especially when you have to pay to be saved, right? Which, as we know, to go to the temple, you have to pay your tithing. And if you don't get your temple recommend. You have to pay to play. Um, what you don't have to pay to play is spirituality and being able to go to the mountains and be quiet or sit on a beach and calm your mind and feel the energy around you. I'm a lot more into the hippy dippy bullshit than I am organized religion by any means. And I don't think you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I still think there's foundations um, that being in religion starts you out at, but I think that it's very limited. That's my thoughts on Mormonism and why I'm like, I still think there's more there. And being married to a psychic medium, I can't really go, yeah, that's bullshit, because I've
Yeah, don't
seen
do that.
things that, yeah, I'm like, oh, all right, that's accurate. When she's like, no shit, she shouldn't know. I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
okay, there's something about this.
I think spirituality is an individual experience, and I think that that's kind of where organized religion is wrong. Is it is one person saying, "Hey, this is the way, and this is how it is." Where I worked in Yosemite National Park for the summer after my high school, and I was there for 6 weeks, and I didn't go to church there. They had an LDS service, but I didn't want to attend because I would be the only one, and I just kind of I felt more myself out there, and especially going to girls camp and just other places, like, I would feel the spirit or something more connecting myself. I was happier out of a building than I was in, and so, yeah, I mean, I think spirituality is I think it's an individual thing. I don't think it can be contained in one specific, like, thing.
Oh, so true. So very, very true. And it makes sense. So you have kids, yeah?
I have 1, yeah,
Yeah.
mhm.
You have one. So it's a son. It's a
Mhm.
boy. So if you were going to send your son on a trip, wouldn't you make sure that he had everything that he needed to have a successful journey and that he came home to you and
Mhm.
that he communicated with you, right? You would. And so that is exactly why we have all of our heavenly gifts, is so that we can have a successful journey, so that we can stay in touch with the other side and have help when we need it and have guidance when we need it. And we get cheated out of that. And oh no, you have to trust on this other person to do it, when in actuality, we should be doing it right here, right now, individually. And it's work.
Yes.
But it's so crazy to me that so many people have left their heavenly gifts unopened. Like it's like these beautiful gifts sitting underneath the tree, and they're like, don't you want to open? Don't you
Yeah.
want to know what they're like? But and trauma a lot of times will force you to open your gifts because you're looking for answers that you can't find
Mhm.
anywhere else. And I think that, and at least with my journey, that's what I was doing, because I was married to my husband for 18 years, and all of a sudden he was gone, and I had 3 dreams he would be shot and killed in the line of duty.
Wow.
So when it happened, it was something that we were prepared for as much as we could be. We had talked about it and all the things, and but that's when my world shifted and shattered, and my heavenly gifts started to pop, and I could hear my husband, I could feel him, I could see him with my human eyes in the middle of the dang day. Like, things just started to happen, and I'm just like, help, because not only was he murdered, but I have all these other things happening, and now with my own clientele, I have a lot of people that have lost their loved ones, and they just want to know, where are they? What are they feeling better? Can they come around to me? And then I start to teach people to use their own heavenly gifts, because they can do what I do. I'm no one special. I'm just stubborn. And so I opened up my gifts, and I'm like, okay, mom, 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 like a million times. And God was finally like, what? Okay, fine. I will show you all of this stuff. But it's crazy because so many people Satan for bad things, and they turn to Christ to save them, when in actuality, Christ was our example. He didn't tell us to worship him. He said, follow me. Do what I do, because you are like me. Do what I do. And so all of the beautiful things that he did, we can do. It's just a matter of opening our heavenly gifts and learning how. And it's work. But my journey has brought me to that. And it's like, it's such truth, and it doesn't belong in a church. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
But I want to know what you believe in and why you left. What was your final cutting? I'm drawing the curtains. I'm done.
Yeah, it was learning that Joseph, Smith was a treasure hunter, and that, Emma and his dad, Emma's dad and him were, friends over this, and that was kind of it. It was just like, "Okay, yeah, this just doesn't make sense. If he's not a true prophet, then I'm not gonna believe." So, yeah, it was just that was kind of it for me, was Joseph's whole treasure hunting stuff, just odd, and,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I, immediately went to, "Okay, well then, God and Jesus don't exist, like, that's not real." And, so I would say for a good maybe, like, year, I was atheist, like, I really just didn't believe in nothing. And
Mhm.
we would watch a lot of Ancient Aliens. My husband is a nerd and loves science and history, and so watching Ancient Aliens kind of opened my eyes to a lot of history things and the
I'm not
Egyptians.
saying it was aliens, but it's pretty sure that it was aliens.
Yes.
That guy is crazy
Yeah,
awesome.
yes, 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 yes. And so it just kind of, after I had my son, my husband's grandma died. She was 90. Oh, she was like 90, I think. She was old. And
Wow.
I didn't I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to the funeral because all the other funerals I had been to were Mormon and it was just all about Mormon stuff. And I was just like, I'm just not ready for that. But I was like, I'll go. I want to go and be there for my husband. And so we went. And while I was there, I was like, man, I want to see her again. Like, I want Atlas to enjoy his great grandma one day. And so I thought maybe like it isn't all fake. Like maybe it's just the Mormon church that isn't true. So I started looking for a non-denominational church, and we had gone to Chipotle, and I had just talked to my husband about this. I was like, I need to find a church. We walked into Chipotle, and there was a group of people sitting there that had T-shirts on that said True North. And I was just attracted to it. I was like, oh, I love your shirt. Like, what is that? And they're like, oh, we're a non-denominational church. And I was like, she's like, this is exactly what I need in my life right now. And so I went for a couple months. I went to little Bible studies. I really did try to embrace and, get in to I guess push my whole self into that group. And
Mhm.
I just felt like, I don't I'm not getting anything from praising Jesus. I get more from being at home with my family than I do reading the Bible. I feel happier when I'm spending time with my husband than I do like at, church with people that I don't really know. So it was just like there's got to be something more, but I don't believe necessarily that there is like a one true church. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm happy with whatever happens. I'll be really shocked if it is the Mormon church, if I get on the other side. They're like, "They were right." I'll be like, I don't know what drugs I
Yeah,
was on then because it didn't feel right then." So,
like South Park.
South Park, yes, exactly. Yep, yep. It was the
Yeah.
Mormons. It was the Mormons. Mhm. So, yeah.
So what caused your journey to go, I'm going to start making Instagram reels about this? How did that start?
Um, yeah, this is really hard. This is hard to talk about, because, I didn't want to do this, but I felt a pull in me. And, so I had a falling out with my parents a few years ago, and we didn't talk for a year, because my mother she's very controlling, and I felt like I needed space. So I took a step back. I had my son, and I was like, he needs family. So I was like, okay, I'll just go back into it. So I contacted them, and it was fine. But it wasn't until the end of last year when I was reading more stuff about Mormonism, and it just was like, I wanna share why I left the church with my parents, like, I really do, like, why don't they want to know? Do they not care to know? Like, do they think I'm stupid? Like, do they not trust that I'm kind of intelligent and, like, I have information that I wanna share with them? And so tried to share with my parents, and they just straight up said, "We don't care." And my sister too, who was kind of
Wow.
active. And I have two siblings who are excommunicated. So, it's not a big deal
Wow.
to them. And, but yeah, so my parents, my mom favors my other sister because she does go to church and takes her kids. And I had asked my sister, I said, so if anything were to happen to you and your husband, like where would your girls go? She has four girls. And she said straight up, well, they would not live with you because you don't go to church. And I was like,
Are you shitting
I
me?
was completely shocked. I was like, "Do you think I'm gonna, like, beat your kids? Like, do you think I'm just a terrible mom?"
What?
So it was clear to me, yeah, it was clear to me that because I wasn't Mormon, I wasn't good enough to be a parent, and it really took me back, and I felt icky. I felt icky inside, and I thought, "You know what? I have so much inside of me. I haven't been able to tell anyone why I went home for my mission, and I just wanna get this out." So I started an Instagram and just told my story and it went yeah, it blew up. It was wild. So yeah, just there's kind of a lot there for you, but there you go.
Do you know what? It's so healing to be able to get that out. And I'm so sorry that that is the way they reacted. It seems though that that's a very typical Mormon reaction. And I refuse to participate in the rebranding. They are Mormons. I was around when we had the I'm a Mormon campaign. It will always be Mormon. I'm still a Mormon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to call it whatever the hell I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mormon.
Mormon, yeah.
So it's such a Mormon reaction, though, to say, well, you're not a member, and so you wouldn't be a good parent for my children.
Well, and I
That is,
confided in my
it's so
mother. I told
horrible.
my mom this. I said, this is what my sister said. And she said, well, I understand why she says that. So my mother agreed. And I'm like, do you guys, I am, it's crazy. Yeah, I couldn't even believe she agreed. My mother agreed. And I thought, yep, I know exactly how my family feels about me. And it's all because I'm not Mormon. And my sister would say, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. You still go. So they still love you. I don't go. And I want to be open about it. And yeah, it's sickening. There's a lot of people that go through what I go through.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a lot of people with very similar stories, and a lot of LDS people that react that way. I think that they're so gaslit that they actually think that you're going to, poison them somehow by them being around you or their kids being around you or whatever that may be. But I mean, there's a lot of my clients too are mixed faith marriages, not like me and Brad, but mixed faith.
We're
Where,
mixed faith in name only.
where one's really, really in and one's out, and they're trying to work it out, and neither one's going to budge. And it's like all that Mormon shame on the spouse that has left is incredible, incredible, and they kowtow to it. So it's like, why can't we just walk our journeys and be okay with wherever somebody is? I have clients that are very, very Mormon. I have other clients that have never been Mormon. I have other clients that have left, and it's across the board. But we should all love each other and be able to cheer for each other on our individual journeys. They don't have to be the same. They need to be different, and we should share our strengths and where we've fallen, and so that we can help each other. Is my honest belief system and what my own clients have taught me. I think it's just sad. I mean, I have family members that think I'm of the occult, that what I do is of the occult. And I'm just thinking, we are 99% energy and 1% mass. Why would I not do energy work? I help people heal. Like, why does that not make sense? I'm like, yeah, no. Just, it's crazy to me. The gaslighting, the shame. And I mean, yeah, I have a lifetime full of shame. That's why it took me 47 years to be like, yeah, I don't think I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I so get you. But when you were talking about how you've been treated, it just resonated with me, because I'm just like, in a way, I'm like, I hate that you felt that way. But in another sense, I'm like, I'm so glad that she's gone through what I have experienced too, because it makes you not feel so alone.
Yeah. It's very interesting. My patriarchal blessing says that I'm very articulate and that I'll spread goodness around the world, and I'll speak the truth. It literally says I will speak the truth. And to that I say that's exactly what I'm fucking doing. I am using them because
Perfect.
I am, and I feel that spiritual gifts, I've always been a people person. I feel it in my soul when I'm with someone. I love connecting with others, and it's just interesting. Like, yeah, it's just, it's mind blowing how all of it, can come about so easy like that for someone, where you just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
We're so much bigger than what any religion lets us be.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've stripped that away, standing by yourself in your own truth and light can be really scary. Because the church defines you, right? But learning how to define yourself and find yourself and realize that this is your school. This earth is our school, and we're supposed to learn. We're supposed to share. We're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to fall flat on our face and get back up and be resilient and all the things. That's the beauty of life. I think that's where the richness comes from. But I love what you do. Absolutely love it. Obsessed. I stalk you all the time.
I've had people message me and be like, I just spent the last 4 hours watching your video and I just worked a 12-hour shift. I'm a nurse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, it's wild. Yeah. I mean, I just started it a month ago and I'm like, it's just crazy. I didn't think it was going to be like this. And yeah, my sister told my parents that I had started this page and I had already called my mom a narcissist. And so I knew it was over. I was like, well, it's out there. So she really knows how I feel. And I thought there's just no going back. And what were they going to do anyway? Say, okay, go ahead. Like, we'll still love you. Absolutely. It's like, I'm blasting
Yeah.
Yeah.
them online. And my dad has no backbone and my mom's a narcissist. And I'm perfectly okay with that because I feel sad for them, but they did this to themselves. But I feel like I needed to kind of go through this to get to where I
Yeah.
am today to be like, hey, be your fucking self. If you don't want to go to church, don't go to church. If you feel weird about it,
Yep.
go. If you want to leave your spouse, get the fuck out. Go. Like do whatever it is that's going to make you happy because you literally I feel you only have this time to really define who you are and you don't want to fuck it up. And I don't want to be praying in
Yeah.
some temple and paying half of my husband's income to them just for the hopes that I get into heaven, maybe. like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know, no guarantee.
Well, it sounds like you've got some really good boundaries established and you've learned a lot of this stuff. I wish I had learned it when I was your age. Congratulations. That's huge. Really, to be able to go, look, they're going to do their thing and that's a them problem. I'm going to do this because it's what's right for me and I'm going to speak my truth. That is amazing. And like Nan said, we both love your channel. Keep up the great work. It's awesome. So,
Thank
and
you.
thank you
Thank you.
for what you've done.
Thank
I
you.
think there's a big community of people out there who are in the same boat, right? People need to understand they're not alone.
And there's a lot of ex-Mormon content out there, and there's a lot of angry ex-Mormons, and I'm pissed
Mhm.
off. But I'm very happy about it because it is kind of, like, well, there we go. That's how it is. And so I try
I'm just
to
happily pissed. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I try to make it not so serious because it isn't that serious. And life is supposed to be
No.
fun. And I I think everyone should do what they want. I believe people should worship whoever they believe. If you want to believe in the flying spaghetti monster, would go for it. But, I
Yep.
think that when it comes to letting people know about your church, you need to be transparent. And that's the issue with the Mormon church is they're not, and they're fooling a
Yes.
lot of people. And I don't like that because I was fooled and I was forced to
Yep.
think a certain way. And it's not how it's supposed to be. And yeah, it's just not healthy for anyone.
Well, it's definitely not what they teach. They teach you to be an honest person, right? And when they, on the flip side, are the most dishonest. I remember President Hinckley even said a statement. I'm going to butcher it, I'm sure, but it's something like you guys probably can know, but it's something like either the Mormon church is the most true church on the face of the earth, or it is the biggest farce. It's either one or the other. And I'm like, I almost feel like because they sign NDAs, right? They can't tell shit.
Mhm.
I think it was his way of putting that question mark out there, like it could be the biggest farce
Mm.
ever, the biggest lie. And that's exactly what it's been. I mean, how do you have 8 different accounts of the first vision? Which one are you going to pick? Because honestly, I've seen ghosts with my eyes and my visions don't change. I don't change my mind and add an extra ghost.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you have 8 different accounts and you just change it as you go. I call bullshit. Like, no, that's not true. And if it's not true, then all of it busts. The whole foundation's gone. Like their own prophet said. And he was my prophet at the time, but that put a question in my mind when he said something like that. It's so interesting. But you're doing
That's an
great work.
interesting rabbit hole to jump down and go, okay, what did Hinckley say that was warning us that this is BS?
Mhm.
I'm going to go jump down that, I
Well, it's
think.
like a narcissist saying, like, trust me, like, with your whole everything." And I watched a clip, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Boy K. Packer, and he was talking to a bunch of kids, and he's like, "You have to trust us. Like, we are God's people." And it was just like, man, like, that is not okay. Like, that's just
No.
not how it works. You're not I don't fit in with the community anymore. I did. And there are Mormons that do and thrive and love it. Like my parents love being Mormon. My dad would take a bullet for the Mormon church. And I really believe that.
Awesome.
And I love that for
Yeah.
him. but I don't want it. It's not my community,
Right.
and it it fucked me up, so I don't wanna be there.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say that those are the lazy learners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Because learning this stuff and having it become your truth and living your truth is work. It's not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. The lazy learners are the ones that are like, "Oh, please give me the check box so that I can make it to the celestial kingdom, and I'll just do all the things and I'll pay my way,
Mhm.
and that's where I'll go." And it's like, anything I do wrong, I'm gonna blame on Satan. And oh, by the way, I have the second anointing, so I can do whatever I
Yes,
want. Like,
yes.
oh, that's a whole other
Yeah,
topic.
I told my dad.
yeah,
I told my dad, I was like, Joseph was arrested for fraud. Like, he was scamming people because he was a glass looker. And I was like, Dad, there's literal court papers that say this. Like, do you want to see them? And he's like, I don't care. He's like, everyone has a past. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how can you not want to look at that? Like, don't you want to know about Joseph? Like, I do. I want
yeah,
to know everything about that con man because it's
Right.
fascinating. And it's
right?
those little things that they just kind of like push under that you're like, okay, you don't get it, and it's sad.
Well, that's just anti-Mormon propaganda. You can't believe that.
Yeah,
That's anti-Mormon, and a lot of people jump on and say, "Well, yeah, you're an Exmo. You've made that your whole personality." Well, no, I'm working through my trauma because I had 50 years of being in this stuff. So now it's time to work through it,
yeah,
right? And I think that's one of the things that pages like yours really help us all to work through and go, "Yeah, I can relate to that." So thank you for sharing those,
Yes, you're
and
awesome. You're awesome.
thank you. This was so
absolutely,
fun. I love it. I hope maybe we can
yeah.
meet each other one day in person.
I would love it. We're
I'm up in the Ogden area, so
Ogden area.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I've got your digits. When we're up in that area, I'll holler at you. Maybe we can grab dinner.
yeah, that would be
Yep.
awesome.
And if you get to St. George, please let us
Okay,
know.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
we'll buy you dinner and drinks. So thank you, Leah, so much for being on. We really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been awesome to visit with you, get to know
Thank
you.
you.
And for those of you out there watching or listening, go check out Leah's page. It's that that One Exmo. Go and find her. She's got some great content out there. You'll really enjoy it. Thank you again, Leah. And for all of you out there, we'll see you
on the other side of the veil.